Hi, this is Jan from Log Cabin Leather, and I'm here to tell you today about how I got started with my hand tool belts. This is my Maker Monday series, and again, each Monday will be about a different aspect of my belt making. So this week is all about my hand tooled belts. Thank you to any of you who have joined me. I appreciate that. Any support, any likes, follows, comments really help me to grow. So I appreciate if you could do that. Leave a comment. That helps me to my reach to grow quite tremendously. So I appreciate that. I apologize because this was originally planned, I think, for 10 o'clock or something this morning, and I did have to reschedule it. In addition to making my handmade leather products, I also work for Mount Kearsarge Indian Museum in Warner, New Hampshire. It's a beautiful museum representing Indian artifacts and rated number 6 in the United States, actually, for Indian museums. In any event, I'm a museum educator there, and the museum is closed generally to the public, except for if people book tours. Well, today we had what's called an outreach program, which is a travel program. I took the program on the road, so I just got back at 1 o'clock, so that kind of interfered with the time, and it wasn't set up till last week after I had scheduled this. So I apologize to anybody for the mix-up in time. Also, I'm a little under the weather, so I don't know how many messages I get out about the time change, so I apologize for that. I will try to do better in the future. But again, this cold has really taken me for a loop. And again, after having to leave the house early and work today, I'm a little under the weather. Or still under the weather. Anyways, that's enough about me. Right now, I want to tell you how I got started making belts. Hand tooled belts. Last week was about plain belts. This week is about how I make beautiful designs on the belts. These are all my original designs. So I'm going to show you how I actually make them on Wednesday. And I apologize for the phone ringing. I'm in my house. My husband's going to get that, I hope. So again, this is really about the stories, how it got started. These two books were really what got me started. They are, again, something I bought at Tandy Leather, which is one of my leather suppliers. Again, I started way back in 1977. So these are one of my first books, and this is by a man named Paul Burnett. And these I found very helpful. It gave you step-by-step directions on, after you cut the belt, how to measure, how to make the belts, things like that. So this really helped me. Now and again, I'll talk more about this on Wednesday. And it showed you how to step-by-step make these patterns and things, how to build the pattern on the belt, the geometric designs. So this has really got me going on this. This belt here was one of the original ones I made. I actually have one here in front of me that I made for my father. And once I started making the hand tool belts, my father fell in love with them. He was my belt salesman. He was my biggest advocate for my belts. He loved them. So I have some belts here. And again, this is telling stories. So I'm going to tell you these belts were all my dad's. These 4 belts. These were all my dad's. This one being, again, a design similar to the one in this book. Now what happened is I had these books, but I didn't have all the tools, which is something I'll talk about on Wednesday. In my Workshop Wednesday series, when I'm actually going to demonstrate making a belt, I didn't have all the tools that you needed, to make this. It tells what tools you need. I didn't have all those, so I improvised. So again, this was the original design. This is something I came up with. This was one of my dad's original belts. This had to have been made, I think, in 1977 or 1978. It's still, now my father is gone, so this is a belt I wear now. Again, all my belts I custom fit, so, this was sized for him. I think I have shortened it because the hole goes to the end, and I wouldn't make a hole close to the end. He loved my fancy belts. He wore them a lot of times. He would wear, the shirts and the pants. He never wore a pair of jeans in his life, but the belts really dressed up the outfit, just like I think my belt dresses up the outfit. That's a different style I make for women. So this was one of his original belts. This is also a belt I made for him. This is probably made in the 80s, I would say. This is another one. These are all belts that, he loved my belts. So most, birthdays and Christmas, he received a belt from me. He had them in all different widths. He had inch up to inch and a half, I would say. Probably not inch and 3/4, because he wore dress pants and they didn't accept that wide a belt. So that's something that's changed over the years too, because they keep changing the sizes on belt loops. The 1 3/4 used to be a very popular size belt, but now they've changed the loop, so I can't, so I stopped making those for a while. Now the pants again have the wider loops, so it will accommodate the 1 3/4 belts. So again, basically I try to, change my, what I'm making according to what, what people want at the time. I do make belts in all widths for both men and women, but my father was really, again, the one who really motivated me. He loved the tool belts. He loved to go to shows with me. He was the publisher and the editor for Northeastern University. He retired right around the time I started college. So found himself with a lot of time on his hands. Once I started, doing the leather work, he wanted to go to the shows with me and help me out. At that time, again, I didn't even have folding tables. I had like a picnic table that I would use to set up my booth display. We had built the booth display before they had easy ups and things like that. So it had large pieces, and I didn't have a car that could accommodate them. So my father had a station wagon. So he would go to the shows with me. He loved going to the shows. He loved to talk to the people because, again, he loved dealing with people. So he would go to the shows with me, and he was my belt salesman. He would call somebody over and say, hey, you have that belt looks shabby. You could use a new one. Why don't you come check these out? And the people would. Most of the time, the people would. I mean, they didn't always buy one, but they would at least stop and look at them. I mean, some people have the issue. They think the tooled belts are in the $80 to $90 range. But again, this is a lot of work. And again, this is only part of it. Once the designs are done, then I have to add the coloring, which is all what I'm going to talk about next week. And then I have to finish and smooth the edges. The edges are raw on this, and they're rough and they're sharp, and that won't be how the belt is finished. So all that are things I'll talk about later. But again, he really loved to sell the belts. So he would go with me to shows. And I never realized really how much he had to have loved them because I almost tortured him to get to shows. Here in New Hampshire, a lot of shows that were close to home, sometimes we would camp. Like we'd do a show up in Lincoln, New Hampshire, which is about an hour and a half from where I live now. Again, I didn't have a car big enough to fit my stuff. My father had my parents had a place in Moulton Borough. So I would have to drive there, meet him, pack stuff in his car, and we would go up north or whatever, and we would camp. And I never realized how difficult that was for him. Back then, we were in a tent. We did not even have like an air mattress. We did not even have a cot. We slept on the ground. My father, I remember I was 7 months pregnant, and he was going with me to that show up in Lincoln. And we were sleeping on the ground. It didn't really bother me then. I was young enough, it didn't bother me. But I've got to tell you, years later when my husband and I were camping at Powwow, we were on nice soft grass. We got up in the morning. Oh my gosh, was I achy. And I did not realize till then that how miserable he had to have felt when he woke up on the ground after sleeping like that at 70 years old. I mean, he must have been. I mean, he did have arthritis and stuff like that. So I'm sure he never complained, never once complained about any of it. That's how much he loved going to the shows. But I realize now how painful that was to him. And I didn't realize it till much, much later. And he couldn't go to the shows with me anymore because my mother got to the point where he had to stay home. Somebody had to be with her. So he couldn't travel with me like he used to. So that was really heartbreaking for him because that was really the highlight of his day, is getting to go to the show and socialize with people. So again, he had the belts in all different widths. He loved them. So that was really the biggest influence and motivator in making the belts. And like I said, he always wore one. So really, he loved them. I do make all different style belts. I've mentioned that I make women's belts as well, 1/2-inch belts right up to 2-inch belts. So this would be a 2-inch woman's belt. That's the widest I make, and then it contours down for the buckle. The belt I'm wearing is another women's style belt. It buckles on the side. It's adjustable on both sides. So that's something unique that I designed. That was based on actually the Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman show that used to be on, I think, in the 80s or 90s. She used to wear beautiful leather belts. So that's where the idea for some of these. Now, this was the original belt like that I made. I had it buckled, and it buckled in the back. So you'd wear it this way still, but the buckle would be back here. So the buckle was not real comfortable to lean on. So that's where I came up with, these are called button studs. suit buckles on the inside. And like I said, it does detach on both sides. So I can adjust it, for higher or lower pants. I also make mechanics belts that have this kind of buckle on it. So there's no metal exposed. Those are great for musicians. I also make a whole extensive line of guitar straps. That's for another month's talk. But again, the mechanic belt doesn't have the metal buckle, so there's nothing to scratch the back of your guitar. And again, I custom fit those just like any other belt. It cannot take a metal buckle. The buckle end is sewn, and I apologize, I don't have one of those right handy to show you at this moment. So that's pretty much how I got started in the belts, and what motivated me. My father, again, he was a lot of inspiration to me, and loved the shows, and really helped me with that when he could, and was sad when he couldn't anymore. So that's about all I have to tell today. I hope you'll join me on Wednesday when I'm actually going to step-by-step carve a belt or stamp a belt. So I'll show you in detail how I stamp the designs, how it's set up, things like that. I do make pretty much the geometric patterns. So that will be my Workshop Wednesday series. I can't off the top of my head remember what time I'm planning that. It's, I think, noontime. I don't know. It might be early in the morning. I can't remember. Excuse me. I'm still playing with the times. I would love for people to comment where they're from, even if you're not watching. If you're watching the replay, where you're watching this from, and let me know what time of day you think is best for me to post these things, that people are available. I didn't think this was probably the best time of day, but like I said, I was working, so I didn't have a choice. So please, any comments, likes, shares, really will help my business grow. I appreciate any of you that are watching me. Thank you very much. If you want to join my email, then you get, on Sunday, you'll get a list that will tell all the things I'm doing for the week. Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, I'm going live on Facebook. So again, Monday is a Maker Monday. Tuesday, I have a game on Facebook called Tool Trivia, where I'll post a tool, and you're supposed to guess its use and things like that. And then on Wednesday, in the Workshop Wednesday series, I'll show how that tool is in use. But I'm demonstrating actually making a project, so that's the Workshop Wednesday. Thursday is when my blog comes out, and it compiles these videos and things like that about the whole theme for that week. Friday is a Flashback Friday, where again, I talk about the older things that I made that are still in use, still being used, things like that. So that's my Flashback Friday series. And then on Saturday, I have the Spotlight Saturday, which is where I'm going to actually show some, more modern belts that I made today that are finished product. So you get to kind of see from the start, the inspiration, right to the actual finished product. This week, again, is all about tooling the belts. So that's a clue for your tool trivia. Next week will all be about coloring the belts. And the week after that will be about finishing the edges of the belt. So each week we'll have a theme. January is all about belt making. February, I think, is going to be about jewelry making, because I'm going to have a new jewelry line coming out. That's pretty much all I have to say for now. Thank you very much for those who've joined me. Again, any likes, shares, comments really will help my business to grow. Anything, if you have questions, please feel free to post them and stuff, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much, and I think that's about all I have to say for now. So I hope you all have a good afternoon and good evening, and I hope you join me on Wednesday. And like I said, it's listed on my Facebook page, which is, Facebook Log Cabin Leather by Jan. On my Facebook page, it should have right at the top when my Workshop Wednesday series, posted in the events, or click the events tab, and you'll find out when that's happening. Also, if you want to join my email, that's when you're going to get a whole list of all these activities for the week outlined, which is my newsletter that comes out on Sundays. So right in the header on my Facebook page is a join now. You can click on that, and that will sign you up, and you'll get all this information. So thank you very much for all of you that have joined me. I appreciate your support. That's pretty much all I have to say for now. So thank you very much, and goodbye. Have a good day.